Some of the simplest messages in life are the most profound. The one I've got on my mind is love is the answer. You've probably heard that a million times, maybe to the point where you're like sick of hearing it. Like you might even want to turn this video off right now. But what I found is these messages, like we think once we hear them and know them, and this is with all knowledge, we think I know that. But there's a massive chasm between knowing and experiencing. It's like that's what I've learned on my pathway was, I knew all these concepts. Like I read The Power of Now. I knew it so well. I was giving it to everybody else, but I didn't really do it. I wasn't experiencing it. Same thing with Untethered Soul. Oh, I knew this book. I can tell you what chapter talks about what, but am I actually stopping my mind and going in and doing the work? No. So the same thing with love is the answer. We know that love works, and most of us even understand this concept that love is kind of like the source of everything, right? But do we actually apply it in our lives? And for me, the answer is no. This is like one of the coolest things about clearing out traumas is it all leads to love, man. It really does. Like love and self-realization, all that stuff. It's the same thing, and it's quite beautiful because that's the part for me that's really been missing. It's a brawn guy, a burly guy that had to protect myself because I didn't get love from my mom when I was a kid. The whole story, the childhood wounds, and that's the last thing to open on me is my heart, and it's been the most beautiful thing, man. It's probably only like 1% open to. It feels really good. So today I was working with a friend, and sometimes when we have these relationships, let's just make this a little bit more like relatable, right? Like we have all these different relationships. We want people to do different things. We want people to show up in different ways in our life. We want people to understand concepts that'll help them and help you and help evolve the consciousness of your relationship. Whether it's a business relationship, an intimate relationship, or a mentoring relationship, father-son or mother-daughter. And what happens is we share these concepts, they don't understand them, it can be very frustrating, and we get short, like I've told you already, you keep falling down to the base of the mountain, I've told you how to use the mountaineering tools, you're not using them, just as an analogy that I use. And man, the number one thing that helped me was to realize first that you've been exactly where they were. And there's no judgment. Let's start with the judgment thing. It's not like people go through crazy stuff, man. It's like people have traumas that lock off parts of their energy centers where they can't even, it's not because they're ignorant or because they don't care or because they don't want to. It's because it's like a dog that gets hit, man. It sees people and it's just like, so that's like what your energy centers do when you've had trauma. That's what trauma does to people. And so we think that these people that are out in the world hurting people and stealing and shooting and like every single thing that is being done is just a cry for love. And yeah, those are extremes, and maybe we need to do other things to stop people from hurting other people. I understand that, but back to our level, like when someone is mistreating you, whatever, however you feel like you've been mistreated, which is a whole nother video, but realize, number one, that you have probably done the same exact thing to someone else. Perfect example. Someone cuts you off and damn near gets you in a wreck on the road. You catch yourself saying, "What an effing idiot. What is wrong with this guy? He doesn't even think of other people." But if you are honest, self-honesty, you can think of a time when you did the exact same thing. And maybe, just maybe, you had to go to the bathroom really bad, or your daughter was sick and you were running across town, or you never know. So the first lesson is to remember that wherever someone is at in a consciousness level when they respond to something, you have been there. Now, if it's someone that's a murderer or a thief, I don't know if you believe in multiple lifetimes, but you have been there. Okay? So that's an extreme example, but just for our daily life, like we watch people respond in certain ways and we have no patience with them. The first thing to do is see yourself in them. And then your heart opens and you're like, okay. The second thing that works really well is to realize that we're all on the same path. We're all walking each other home. We're all coming together, and everybody comes from, it's like 360-degree angle, but everybody's going to the center. And everybody has different experiences, and they may be really bad at certain things because of something that happened to them. Or for whatever reasons, it doesn't even really matter. And you may be really good at that thing, but you're also really bad at something else that you can't even see. And they're really good at that. So just be open. And going back to love is the answer, as I've helped people, I used to be, imagine this, I was very strong and I do have the ability to see immediately, like I've got a gift to see things like really fast, like what's blocking and things like that. It's just the way I've always been. And I've always just wanted to, because I prefer the teaching style where you're like, just fucking hand it to me, man. Tell me, like, reflect me. Tell me exactly, like, okay, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're doing this, you're making other people feel like this. Like, I want that. But people that are wounded, and there are times when I've been wounded and thought I wanted that and couldn't accept it, to be honest, too. But when we have wounding and we have trauma, what happens is when you hit people too directly, and it doesn't have to be as direct as that example, it could be as direct as, I've told you this before, come on, let's go, what are you doing? Like, why do I have to keep repeating this to you? And even that, which isn't super direct, and maybe you have told them 10 times. But what happens is it triggers that trauma and they shut off and they can't learn. They can't grow. They stay locked, and it actually contributes more energy to that trauma center, which is a spinning ball of energy that's stuck within their metaphysical, inside their etherical body, if you really want to know how it works. You just put more mass into that particular trauma. So it's actually moving them the other way, and then they also see you as part of that threat that's, maybe something happened to them as a child, they were abused, and you trigger that. Now you're part of that threat, and they see you as the abuser, not technically, but subconsciously. So now you have closed your ability to help them. I mean, you can work again from another perspective and try to do it again, but my point is love is the way. So the first thing is to see that you have been doing the exact same thing they were. Then you start to approach them with compassion, and you start to say, I understand when you know that this is hard, and you just start to come around it from different angles, softly, like leaving the door open, allowing them to walk through when they're ready, not getting angry when they don't understand, creating space, creating compassion. And sooner or later, just like the dog that got beat up, he starts sniffing around the door. He's hungry, right? He comes inside, he looks around, he's like, it's not so bad in here. Love is the way, man. It opens people. And everybody has wounding. Everybody. We just have it in different areas, and a lot of us are just playing this social game where we stay in an ego thermostat. Like, if everything is fine, I like my circle of friends because we all look at the same things the same way, and if everything they know what's proper, what's not proper, and as long as everything is within my ego thermostat, I'm happy, right? So a lot of people live in these false worlds. We all do it. But when things hit you outside of that, your first reaction is that person's an asshole or blah, 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 blah. But really what's all that's happening is you're getting triggered from a trauma that you haven't looked at because you don't want to look at it, right? So there's multiple perspectives here. But if you're helping people, if you're leading people, if you're caring for people, if you're in love with someone, and you come from a place of love and understanding, and you also see their side, and how you see their side is see yourself in them. If you really look at what someone's doing, this is a great exercise, and see, like, if you stop, maybe you have to do it later, and you think, have I ever done that to somebody? The answer is hell yes, you have. Almost 99% of the time. And that also helps you grow. And then you see you're judging yourself. Because ultimately, what you find when you climb the pathway to self realization is it is you. It's all one. So, love is the way. It's one of those things that we hear, and we're like, I know that. Shut up. I know that. Right? Like, I've heard this before. I don't need to hear this again. That's arrogance, right? And arrogance is where your suffering and pain come from. How do I know? Trust me, I know. 'Cause I've done it myself for years. Even simple things like if you take spirituality, you could distill it down to let go, relax, surrender. It's like 5 words. That's literally encompasses the whole spiritual path. But do we know what that means? No, we don't, because we think we do, but we don't. Like it's so beautiful and has so many levels. It's so nuanced. Like it goes so deep and it goes so much further than you've ever been. It's more let go, more relax, more surrender, and it just gets better and better. And then love starts to rise, and then you have compassion, and then you see yourself in others, and then you remember, love is the way.